What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning back into another video. Today we are starting filming for part 3 out of the How to Shave Your Engine Bay series. I'm here in the garage. We got Khalid's over here working on his computer, hanging out in the meanwhile. Right over here, if you guys finished watching the last video, then you saw that we got the portions that we really wanted to sand down. That exactly, we got it sanded down. So the reason that we were doing that was so we could actually start the welding process for the engine bay without having to take off all the paint, since we are going to be prepping the paint or prepping the engine bay for paint after we're done welding everything. I just thought it would be a little bit easier to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone and just sand it all after we're done welding. I just wanted to show you guys a quick demonstration of exactly what we're doing in this video. If you see right here, we can see 2 holes on the frame itself. The reason that there's 2 holes is because there were 2 more right there and 1 more right there, and they are already welded shut and then ground down using a little sanding disc. So by doing the process that we're doing right here, we essentially eliminate those holes and give it a much cleaner look. And we're going to be doing that all along the engine bay on the areas that you see these little holes that are not necessary. Obviously, we'll still keep the points, for example, right here for the coilover where the top of the shock actually attaches to the body, as well as these holes right there where the camber kit actually attaches to the body. But everything else that you see will be eliminated. If you haven't seen part 1 of the video series, we did mention that we're going to be doing little plates over here, which are actually set off to the side at the moment. I had these traced out with some cardboard paper a couple days ago and then cut out and then used it to trace onto a flat piece of 16 gauge steel, which is going to cover this area right there, this area right there, as well as that corner on the passenger side. So without further ado, we are going to set up the camera right here on this little nice tripod that I have, just a little bench stool, as well as an empty 5-gallon M5 container. I'm going to set up my camera right here and I can actually start welding. Oh, real quick before I start that, I wanted to show you guys what I'm working with today. This is the Chicago Electric 220 MIG 170 wire feed welder. So this right here is an optional MIG or flux core welder. I'm using it as a flux core right now with flux core wire. You can also attach a bottle to it and use it as a real MIG welder. We're just doing the flux core right now since it is light welding. It's not anything that needs anything crazy. So we're going to be using that. Like I said, I already tested it out on these welds right there and it came out perfectly for what we're using. So yeah, if you guys had a question about what welder I was using, that's the exact one that I actually got. So I'm going to set up the camera right now, and one thing you want to have to keep in mind is you want a nice clean surface for not only where you're welding, but as well as that, you also need a nice clean surface for where you want to put your ground. Make sure that everything grounds nicely and you can have a nice good weld on top of that. Alright, so we do have the welder turned on right now. I'm going to get inside of the engine bay and actually sit down on this little stool that I have. Since I already ground these down right there, I want to show you me welding the top ones. Right off the bat, that took, what, 10 seconds? And this one is welded up. And you can see right there, out of those 2 remaining holes, there's only 1 right now. If it'll focus. You can see this one's still open, and that one is welded shut. That's going to be able to be ground down and make it smooth with the rest of the frame afterwards. And there we go, second hole is done. And it's fully welded. As soon as we grind this down, it will be 100% flush. As for the area right up top over here, I'm not going to weld these holes since that's where we're going to be putting the plate on. But for the holes like right here, right there, and the ones back here, we are fully welding it. You just saw how I did it right there, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on time lapse and have the whole process of me doing this without having to show you step by step, very in depth. But there you go, you can see how it actually welded those holes shut, and we should be good to do the next ones. Besides that, Sergio just showed up. What's up, bro? How you doing?
What's going on, guys?
He just got off work. Khalid's is still working. He works online, so he has the ability to work wherever he wants, which is awesome.
Yes, thank you. That's
I get to be here for all the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, you actually get to see the video before it drops. Oh yeah. But so we got Sergio and Khalid's, and me just chilling in the engine bay right now. So we're gonna hang out for a little bit. I'll adjust the settings, and then we'll keep on going with the welding.
I just told Sergio what the challenge was.
What was the challenge?
You'll want to get it on camera.
I'm recording. What's your challenge that you're talking about?
If this video gets 1,000 likes, I will K-swap the RX-8.
If the video gets 1,000 likes, you'll K-swap the what?
RX-8.
You have an RX-8 that you'll K-swap if I get 1,000 likes.
On this video. Within, you have...
No, not within.
No.
No. If we get 1,000 likes on this video.
Within a month.
A month, I'll take those odds. 1,000 likes and you will K-swap your RX-8.
Yes. I don't like where this is going.
Guys, please, please. I've never asked like anything from you guys really. I've just... If we get 1,000 likes, my buddy will K-swap his RX-8, which is actually down right now because his rotary, you know, it was a rotary and it blew up. So, let's get 1,000 likes, please. Oh my gosh, that would be glorious.
I have to go buy a second RX-8.
It's up like shit right now. Yeah, we can find a motor for like 500 bucks. It won't be a nice like K24A2, but it'll be like a K20.
Yeah.
Bro, let's do it. Buy the adapter plate, I'll buy your motor.
We'll see if you can get 1,000 likes.
Listen, man.
That's what, I probably put something up, but I don't think you normally get like
I don't get 1,000 likes normally. I get like a couple hundred. 1,000 likes, guys. Hook it up. Hook your boy up. Help convert a Mazda guy to Honda, please. Please. Man, that would be glorious. I love it. I love that idea. I love that idea, yo. Guys, if you guys are new to the channel, you might not know. I used to weld a lot in sandals, and I'm wearing shoes right now. So when Khalid walked in and he saw me in shoes, he's like, oh, no chancla fab today? So I do apologize, guys. I'm just getting burned up like crazy, and I'd rather not burn off my feet today. Maybe in a future video, just not today, guys. Not today.
Oof.
What's wrong?
I'm like looking at some videos in there.
Do I have 1,000 likes on anything?
No, but you come close.
Woo.
We have over 600 on... Oh my gosh, no! It is possible.
Let's get it, yo.
4.7 thousand on 800 horsepower Honda build step-by-step part 1.
Oh, that was a very popular video, though. Will you really K-swap it?
I mean, if you don't delete that clip.
I'm not deleting it.
With the quarter coil and plug setup, 2.3K.
Say less. We are working on the engine bay right now. I'm making little plates to weld behind some of the thinner holes. And Khalid said that he wants to change the challenge, as he says it. What is it you want to do now? Since you already locked in that you want to K-swap an RX-8.
I don't want to K-swap an RX-8, but if this video gets 1,000 likes, let's do a K-swap RX-8 on this channel.
Okay.
We'll buy a $500 shell. We'll throw K-swap in it. I don't know what transmission we need for it.
We'll figure it out.
All right, and let's like make like a little budget track drift car or whatever.
I'm sorry, you're out of light, but I got you. So you're saying originally it was to do it to your car, right?
Yeah.
Now you don't want to do it to your car anymore.
Definitely not.
So all right, so
that's like cutting, because it involves like cutting the firewall, and that's like work that I don't want to do to a daily, and you know.
We're cutting a lot here.
That's your car. This is a race car, man. Mine's not a race car.
So we're not gonna make him have to K-swap his car, but if he is willing, if we do get 1,000 likes, we will definitely start building an RX-7 or RX-8.
Dude, or
that's
we could do an
K-swap.
RX-7.
No, you don't put a K-swap into an RX-7.
An RX-7 FC.
Stays rotary.
Second gen RX-7.
Stays rotary.
Okay.
Can't do that. RX-8 K-swap. If we hit 1,000 likes, it will be his, but not his daily driving RX-8.
Let's do it.
Locked in. Boom. All right, let's continue here. There.
So you're filling these small ones, but not these.
This is for the camper kit, and the small ones I need a plate behind because the metal is so thin. I have to do this one right here. Alright, so for this portion I have basically a large hole. We're not going to make a plate to cover this side right here. I'm just going to work around it. To cover this hole, I'm just using a little flat piece of 16 gauge, which I'm actually going to set behind so you won't be able to see from the engine bay. Basically just set that piece right there, and using these little magnets that I bought at Harbor Freight in part 1 of the series, I can actually hold it in place while I tack it on. Then I can take this off and then do a full weld all around before I can actually grind it down and bondo it into place. So yeah, it's gonna be really simple. Just have a nice piece of metal to place behind, and then with the magnet, hold it into place. Instead of holding it with the magnet, it's kind of has a bevel right here, so it's kind of hard to hold with the magnet. I'm just gonna tack it, holding it with my hand. That was hot, but it was worth it. Now that's on there, just gotta weld all around it. Alright, this next portion I cut out a little piece of metal just to put right behind this little hole, and I'm holding it up with the magnet from the outside. I'm just gonna tack it up real quick with a welder and then weld all around it before we can grind that down. But it goes from being an open hole like that to a closed hole like that, which I think it really improves the look of it. So I'm gonna weld that up real quick and it should look a lot nicer. Tacked in place. Nice and solid. Not the prettiest weld. Definitely not the prettiest weld, but it's in there. Solid piece of metal. 100% part of the firewall now. This kind of stuff is what gets shaved down with the grinder later and then smoothed over with the Bondo. So we're not too crazy about the appearance, but it'll be okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this to this hole and that hole right there. I think I'm gonna leave this one as is, just because that's probably where we'll be running the wiring through. But yeah, nice big solid plate. Nice. Fast forward to the next day. Like I said earlier, I have about maybe 60 to 70% of all the holes plugged up. It And I really wanted to move over to the next portion, which is welding on the plates. Now, a couple people commented on my last video, as well as mentioned or sent some messages through Instagram, which I appreciate, you guys. You guys said that I should use some weld-through primer. I could pick it up at a local parts store. I actually went to all the parts stores in the area and nobody has it. I could order it online and have it come in later, like next week, but I really want to get this portion done right now. So for welding this plate on, obviously I don't want any corrosion to happen underneath it afterwards. So I'm kind of gonna do like a mental trace of where the weld points are gonna be, and then underneath it I'm just gonna lay down some no rust primer so this doesn't rust in the future, as well as on the bottom, aside from the edges where it's actually gonna get welded. That way underneath everything there shouldn't be any issues of future rusting or anything. And then for the corners, after I weld it shut, then I'll also primer around everything on the outside. But yeah, I'm gonna lay down some primer like I just said right now in some of the sections on the inside, and leave the corners exposed, and then we can start welding the actual plate into place. I think I'll start by tacking it into place right here, and then since this portion lays down a little lower than the other side, you can see there's a gap right there. After I weld that into place with a couple tacks, then with a C-clamp I can bring this down and have it all tensioned and whatnot. So should be pretty good. Just gonna start laying down the primer, and then I'll start cleaning up the metal on top and making it ready for weld. Got a light coat of primer right there, as well as a little bit on the back side of the plate that we're welding on. Now I'm just cleaning up the edges right there. That's actually gonna have the weld sit on, like right over there, this portion. Then give it a minute to dry up, and then I can actually start tacking it into place. I've got it pretty much tacked in for the most part. I got it about every other inch on some portions, and then every couple inches on other portions. And then I did a little bead right here. It didn't come out very nice, but that's all gonna get ground down anyway. So that's fully welded right there. Now I just gotta go along this seam right there and then do these corners as well. It's gonna be a little tricky because this one is in the way, but I should be able to get it from the bottom and kind of angling it out. But I should be able to take this clamp off right now, and it'll hold it in place since it's already tacked with that form. I just really wanted to keep it down as low as possible. And yeah, looking pretty good. Feels solid already. Can't wait to see what it looks like once it's all welded in and ground down. Look at that. Totally changes the view of it. So now I got my, like I said earlier in the other videos, my ghetto tripod. I'm gonna set this up around right here and get to working. Hey guys, I know it's been a couple hours since the last clip. I am so sorry about that, but my battery did die on the camera, and I really didn't want to lose the daylight, which obviously in that last second clip right there you saw. It is getting kind of, not dark, but the sun is going down and we're losing a lot of the productive hours of the day. I just want to show you a quick update of what I've done. I actually decided not to use the side plate that we were going to use right there. Instead, I ended up cutting it up for a couple different slices into a couple different like size plates, and filled that hole right there, as well as this one. I cleaned up a couple imperfections that were in the engine bay and started filling some more holes right there. And this one is fully welded on, and I wanted to show you guys a little bit of the transition between how everything is working with the shave. So this is the weld, right? And then this is once it's shaved down, and same goes for the top right there. It doesn't look like much right now, but that was just like 10-15 seconds of shaving or sanding, grinding, whatever you want to call it, with these discs. So once we actually do put the Bondo and everything over that, it's gonna look a lot nicer, you know. But that definitely is a big improvement. Nice steel plate right there. I've also tacked in this side, so we just did a couple tacks all around. Got it to where we want it positioned, nice and flush. Something that I noticed when welding onto this very thin sheet metal, with the welder like this, the Harbor Freight one, that you can't adjust the heat, it's very easy to blow holes through it, which is actually, you can see, like right here, I blew a hole through and I had to fix that. Then I blew a hole through right there. I have to go over that in a little bit, but it's super easy to blow a hole through. I was talking to a couple people and watching some videos online. They actually suggested this method that I've started implementing. Basically, it takes a lot longer, but it works well. You want to tack weld far apart and then go back and do another 2 or 3 tacks right here, and then do 2 or 3 more tacks over here, and then work your way over to where there's not a lot of heat condensed in the same area. So I'd probably do like 3 tacks here, then do like 3 tacks there, do a couple over here, and then work back over on this side and kind of do like a rotation to keep the heat nice and separated. But yeah, you do pretty much get the idea of what we're doing. We're closing up every single hole that we're not going to be using. For some places, like I said right here, what I'm doing is basically cutting out pieces of metal and actually having them held over this side right there, and then welding it on the inside part, which is also what I've done with some of the smaller holes right there. I know it looks ugly, but I think I'm gonna shave this down a little bit. And I could have made the covers nicer, like circles, instead of just having random shaped plates, but it serves the purpose. Obviously, for these little sharp lips right there, I'm gonna shave it down afterwards. But yeah, we're getting along with that, and we don't have much more to do when it comes to the welding. Just got to finish up that side and then get a couple more of the holes, and we should be good. Alright, so I think that we did reach a pretty good stopping point for today. Like I mentioned earlier, I only had a few welds to work at, and now I'm even less. I say that I have to do about 8 more welds altogether. Which, if you don't notice right now, I have the garage closed because it is dark outside. It's already nighttime, and we do have some things to do tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. But before that, I just want to show you the completion on the driver's side. There's the plate all welded up. Then I have the mount area welded up as well. Sorry, in the low light, it's awful to focus, but we're working at it. This one completely welded up, as well as all the sides right here. I ended up not running the big plate that I had made, so I ended up just welding shut the little holes that there were, and I think it looks pretty good. Like I mentioned, I have these block offs on this side that I have to shave down and make nice, but that's not going to be too much of an issue. For brief demonstration of what the next video is going to entail, aside from finishing up the other welds, we're actually going to be grinding down all of the welds and making them flush like this. Obviously, this is not a finished product, and I just took like 15 seconds of the grinder right there, and it already looks really smooth. It almost looks like part of the body line, and then with the Bondo that we'll be using, it'll fix it up even more. All these firewall holes plugged. I have this one to finish on this side, and then a couple more over there. But it is looking pretty good. I am pretty proud of it. Obviously, it is my first time shaving any type of engine bay or anything, so the fact that we were able to do this and learn from it is what I love. I hope you guys can actually pick up some tips from how to do this if you're figuring this out at home also. But let me know if you guys have any questions down in the comment section below, or shoot me an Instagram DM at Slowintegra. I had a couple people mention that since I am using flux core, there may be an issue going through the flux core actually seeping through the paint in the future. I actually spoke with a couple fabricators who use flux core on the daily, and they said that as long as I prep it up real nice, grind down the weld, and do a really good job with primer and the Bondo, I shouldn't have any problem. Apparently a lot of people have done it, and like 6-7 years later, as long as you have good prep, there's still no bleed through. So that shouldn't be an issue whatsoever. But we are super happy with the car. I can't wait to do the next portion of it, which is actually shaving down and figuring out the whole Bondo aspect of it. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.